Hi, everyone. It's Mitch here with Steve Monahan, our Wildcard NFL football show. Not sure what kind of crowd we're going to get. Normally we're on at 4. It's 4:15, and we haven't been on all week. New Year's Day, I was sick yesterday. Still a little ill, but definitely feeling a lot better. Didn't take the prednisone, so I'm a little swollen.
What's the matter, Mitch?
What?
What was the matter with you?
I got a sinus infection, so it's
How do you get sinus infection in Hawaii?
I don't know, but I got one. But definitely, a lot going on with a very little going on. Joe Moorhead fired today by Mississippi State. Let's just say, from what I saw from the quarterback position at Mississippi State, I think he should have been fired after that Tennessee game. And it carried all the way through to the postseason. Miserable quarterback play against Louisville on Monday. I mean, it was tough to watch. I had Louisville. It was still tough to watch the quarterback play from Mississippi State. Jason Garrett.
East guy, I'm not surprised he didn't last that long in Mississippi State. He literally, Penn State guy, Fordham guy,
They're saying that some off-the-field culture issues with Moorhead as well. So not just the quarterback play and the on-field stuff. It's some of the off-the-field stuff too. Jason Garrett, not with the team any longer, or whatever. They refused to say fired. Just haven't heard fired yet with this one.
Well, his contract goes to January 14th, so.
They're just not renewing his contract.
You know what, Jason? Everybody knows I'm a Cowboy fan, or most of our audience does. He's a good guy. I think they didn't want to embarrass him. They were going to let him go. They're doing the right thing. And a lot of people have been asking me who's going to be the next head coach of the Cowboys. I couldn't even fathom a guess right now. My wildest guess is if Minnesota loses to New Orleans, which I'm going to predict that they will. I could see Mike Zimmer coming back to Dallas. He was a longtime defensive coordinator. He's got ties to Dallas. I can see that as probably the most logical candidate. I think the Giants are all in on Matt Rule. They're going to try and get him. I think McCarthy goes to the Browns. Right now, as we broadcast, those are my kind of tea leaves I'm kind of reading. What do you think?
Lincoln Riley is still my guy there, not Matt Rule.
I think Matt Rule's going to go to John.
Much better job than the Giants' job. Much better gig. It's the job in the NFL.
Yes, it is.
So,
Jerry Jones aside,
it is the job in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, come on, they're the most valued franchise out there, bar none.
It's like the Yankees manager. It's like Notre Dame head coaching job. It's what it is. They should be able to get whoever they want. Be interesting.
So whoever wants to be Jerry's whipping boy, that's it.
I've seen a lot of Alabama players decide to come back for another year. Pretty amazing. Leatherwood, amazing that he would come back.
Well, it sounds like Dylan Moses' father, who's a lawyer, is saying Dylan may have overstepped his bounds by announcing that he's coming back. They're trying to get some insurance or something for him. I think he's got a second-round tag right now. He's a good football player. Alabama would be very happy to get him back for another year. But I think he's probably a second-round talent right now. He's a good football player at linebacker, Dylan Moses.
Yeah, we'll see how he comes back from the injury. It's always tough to tell. Tua making his announcement on Monday. I think he's a guy that needs another year of college regardless. Jacob Eason's coming out, so where he's going. So
he's not going in the first round.
Well, yes, he is. He's going to be wearing aqua and orange. Trust me on that one.
Really?
Oh, yeah, really.
Really?
This is how they draft. This is what they do. This is the team that brought you Ryan Tannehill with a first-round pick. Top 10.
Right, traded for Josh Rosen. So I guess that's really not out of the realm of possibility.
It's all possible. So, there's Herbert's there, the guy that I like, and then you have Joe Burrow. Probably won't be on the board when the Dolphins pick, but I just think that Eason makes a lot of sense for the way that this team drafts, and they just find the guy that I hate the most, and they just pick him and throw him on the roster. It's like
that's right. They go into the draft room. Who does Mitch hate the most?
It's like the people they have a sign like on the wall at Dolphins headquarters. It's like who gets stuck. It's like let the new guy call Mitch. And see how his season tickets. If there's anything we could do for him. It's like. It's like I can't tell you how many reps I've been through there. I've gone
You're the first call for the kid out of college.
I've gone way beyond the asking for a real head coach and a playoff team. I've gotten down to the specifics, But yeah, it's just I could see it. They have a lot of first round picks.
They do.
I could see it, a trade down and taking them. Meanwhile, in Boise, Ohio 10-3 over Nevada. Nevada just looks defenseless here. This game all about the potato, though. Definitely the feature.
The Idaho Potato Bowl. Come
front
on.
and center, everything is potatoes in this game.
That's right.
In the stands.
I think Coach Solich. I liked Ohio going into this game, so.
I took Nevada. I really don't care. I did not put a bet on this game, but
why this game's being played on January 3rd? That's a question.
At 3 o'clock in the afternoon on
right.
It just doesn't even make any sense at all. This is a broken bowl system is what this is.
That's right.
This is defined right here in Boise with the Potato Bowl, and who doesn't like a good spud? It's like
of course. Right.
The average American eats 124 pounds of potatoes a year. The average German eats 250 pounds of potatoes a year.
Ooh.
It's a lot of potatoes. That's almost a pound of potatoes a day.
As Kramer would say on Seinfeld, that's a lot of potatoes.
Well, the largest potato, 7 pounds 1 ounce. So just a lot of potatoes going on. But we've got, of course, 4 NFL wildcard games this weekend. Next week, I alluded to this on our morning show today, but next week at 4 o'clock on at least Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I have Charles Ormsby with me. And he is a statistician. He's one of those guys. And he thinks that his computer can pick winners. And it does pick winners. And we're gonna drill him. That's what we do. We're gonna explain. He's gonna show us a bunch of data, and we're gonna say, "I don't even understand what you're talking about." Say it in English. Say it again.
He's a sabermetric guy.
He is like. It's like I try and talk to him and explain to him and he's like, yeah, you got this doesn't like my audience is not going to understand this. I'm like, do you pick games? Well, we don't pick games. We have those data. Do you make a suggestion on the games? Yes. Then you pick games. So we'll go through his system. It's really, really, I think the best one out there, and that's why I would have him on. Is Nevada completes a good pass. I got ripped on YouTube for my Nevada pick. There's a guy on there who I don't know. I always think that the biggest turds out there are the YouTube trolls, and I'm not saying like everyone uses YouTube. I'm just saying the YouTube trolls. Where do they find these people? It's like, what rock? It's like, I love the way they make this. They've never seen me before. They have no idea who I am. Yet they make these general assumptions about my entire character, life, and what I do and know. It's like over, the Nevada-Ohio game. It's like, I generally let the comments slide or I delete them. And I just ask this guy, if you're anything above 14 years old, you really have to just question life and what you're doing. It's like to come on my YouTube channel. He tells me I'm lazy and know nothing about these teams. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's why I have almost 9,000 YouTube subscribers in 3 months. And the largest sports handicapping YouTube channel, at least in the past 30 days. by a long ways. And my channel's only 3 months old. And here come the Nevada Wolfpack. So we're going to go back. We're going to drill this guy in the comments, If they don't, he's got Ohio by 17. Easy is what he says.
Oh, okay.
He obviously has never seen a college football bowl game. I probably wouldn't know a tater tot if it hit him in the head. Anyways, Bill Belichick and company taking on the Tennessee Titans. And a lot of people on the Titans here. A lot of people on the Titans. I guess they've never seen the Patriots play in January before at home. Well, the Patriots don't get a lot of calls during the regular season, so they say they get some, but they had a lot to go against them. Well, in January is when they save them all up for it because the Tuck rule was invented in Foxborough. Okay?
That's right.
If they say the Tuck rule existed, they made it up as they went along. I'd been watching football my whole life. This was what, 15, 20 years ago now?
Yeah, it's got to be 20 by now.
It's the year that it was the year the Patriots won their first Super Bowl, right? When they beat the Raiders. Was it that year?
No, the Raiders.
It was Tom Brady.
It was against the Raiders, the Tuck rule.
Right, but was it the year that they won their first Super Bowl with Tom Brady?
Top of my head, it's right up there.
It was in that time frame, so it could have very well have been that year. But I mean, I had never heard of the Tuck rule before that game.
Nor did the referees or anybody at the time.
I mean,
they made it up as they went along. That's exactly right. And to this day, the Raiders got screwed on that call. There's no question.
But so we got a question here. I'm the OSU fan. You was right. OSU lost, but you said Clemson was going to destroy them. But yeah, who got in the champ? Better be LSU. I love Clemson money line. Love them. Love them.
I'm like an LSU here. I know.
Love Clemson.
I think the 29-game win streak comes to an end.
No, I don't think so.
We'll talk about it as the game approaches.
Yeah, I'll talk about it right now.
I'll talk about it right now. I'm taking out LSU.
I love Clemson on the money line.
I love LSU.
Money line Clemson.
Okay.
Anyways, 48% of the public here on the Patriots at -5. It was -5.5. I don't know. I've seen Ryan Tannehill against these Patriot defenses before. As he was the quarterback of the team I was rooting for, and I don't have fond memories. I don't have fond memories of Ryan Tannehill against Bill Belichick defenses.
No, you do not.
Belichick, his strategy is to take something away. It's likely going to be Derrick Henry here. Make Tannehill beat him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard to figure out.
What are you thinking? I love the Patriots here, -5.5.
I love the Patriots here. I can't bet against Brady and Belichick at home. I get the fact, this is really the first time in a long time they're playing a first-round game without their bye. I know the receiving core. I know the Pats have not looked like the Pats. I can't bet the Tennessee Titans coming up to New England in a playoff game, especially with Ryan Tannehill. I'm not knocking Ryan Tannehill. In fact, I think the Titans are one of two teams to average 30 points a game since Tannehill took over. So they have been scoring. Derrick Henry, I think, led the league in rushing. Big fan of Derrick Henry. But the intangible factor with Brady and Belichick game planning, I'd be foolish not to take the Pats. So I'm going to stick with that. They're at home. And till they get the throne, I'm betting with them, especially this week against Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Pats in this one. I just don't see it. You got the Texans taking on the Bills. The Texans, they play good defense. They don't run the ball particularly well. Deshaun Watson, he's a gamer. But they didn't really finish the season all that strong. Meanwhile, Buffalo, the kings of the road this season. 6-0 against the spread this season on the road. So 6-0-2 against the number on the road. 6-2 straight up on the road. I don't know. It's like tough customers up against Houston. J.J. Watt will be back in here. How effective he'll be, I don't know.
I would think, even if he's 80%, he's still J.J. Watt. He's a force that can't hurt Houston to have him there. And again, listen, he may play, 3 plays and that arm goes back to, torn pectoral or whatever. But I'll give him credit for suiting up. That's a tough injury he's got. Josh Allen on the road, his first real playoff game. Houston at home. Deshaun Watson, Hopkins, Carlos Hyde. Listen, if they block Carlos Hyde, it's not the worst back that they have there. My only concern is Will Fuller is hurt for Houston. So, do they double team Hopkins? Does that impact the passing game? Maybe, but Deshaun Watson with his legs and athleticism, I think I got to take Houston at home here. I'm going to ride the Texans at home. 3-point spread last I saw. So all those factors, Bills, they have had a good season. I've talked about them all year. Their defense is young. They're athletic. Devin Singletary at running back. It's not a bad back, that type of thing. So you have Frankie Gore, who's a gamer. I got to go with Houston here. Deshaun Watson and company. I think that they'll take care of business at home.
Well, this is a tough one. It really is. The Texans, the Bills' defense gives up a lot of yards.
They do.
They're a bend, don't break team. They gave up the second fewest points in the AFC this season, the Buffalo Bills. But they allowed, or in the NFL, the second least points in the entire NFL this season.
Yeah.
But they allowed, they allowed the third least yards. So they're just rock solid all the way around. When we look at the Texans on the other side of this one, near the bottom, they allow 27 points a game.
Yep.
It's just a ton. 6,213 yards, 388 a game, 267 through the air, 121 on the ground. The Bills only allow 103 yards on the ground, 195 in the air. Yards are just tough to come by against this Bills defense. And
I know. I love the under here too. I don't think this is going to be a high scoring affair.
I like the under probably as my play, and I like 2.5 as well. I'll take the Bills here.
And you know what, Houston, under O'Brien, they've been in the playoffs several times. Going back to when Andy Dalton and Cincinnati came to Houston, and they've stubbed their toe. And but I think, I'll repeat myself. I think that the fact that Deshaun Watson, I just think Josh Allen is going to have a couple big mistakes here that, for whatever reason, playoff football, etc. I got to go with Houston here. I don't love it, but I'll go with the under probably, like you said, and I said. I think that's the safe play here.
Yeah. So we got the NFC on Sunday and the AFC on Saturday. I don't like this. I don't understand it. Does that mean the next week it's going to be the same way? It's like, I have no idea. But
who knows? Who knows what goes on Park Ave in New York City in the NFL offices?
Saints and the Vikings. Kirk Cousins. That loss at home to the Packers kind of really sits with you here when you think about him going to New Orleans, in a place where, man, as bad as the calls as the Saints went against last year in the playoffs, they've really gotten some nice calls in the high-profile games and a lot of nice non-calls. I'm going to guess Janoris Jenkins is going to be ready to go for this one. Eli Apple will have some limited action if that's the case.
Listen, Janoris Jenkins is obviously an upgrade at cornerback. We've talked about Eli Apple. We think he's one of the most overrated number one picks in the history of number one picks. Janoris Jenkins obviously being shown by the door by the Giants for, some foolish statement. He still has a little bit left in his tank. When he's on, he's not the worst cornerback. But, the Vikings coming down to the Superdome, I think the way the Saints are playing, obviously they're going to try and, double team Michael Thomas and shut him down. I think the Saints are going to be able to run the ball. The Vikings play a two-safety defense typically, and I think Alvin Kamara is probably a little bit healthier. I think the Saints, they got some defensive issues. Their defensive line is a little bit banged up, but the mystery of Dalvin Cook, how healthy is Dalvin Cook? I don't know. He's missed a lot of time. He could be healthy, but he could not be. And the fact that the Saints are, they scored a ton of points against the Panthers. They're ready. They got screwed last year. Sean Payton is going to have them fired up. Breeze looks like he's back in a groove. Saints are home. I know it's 7.5 points, but I tell you what, I got to go with I'm basically going with the favorites here. I'm going to go with the Saints at home. I don't see any reason not to. What about you?
Yeah, I think the Saints absolutely roll here. I just don't see the Vikings, after losing at home to the Packers, I hardly see them having much chance here. Had it been a little different scenario, had I seen a little more out of Kirk Cousins, had I seen a little less really crap officiating in New Orleans in that Drew Brees game against the Colts, do you even need help from the officials in a game like that? So why waste it? It's like, I don't know. I just think this is one of those games that's bad for football. It's like it could be a good game, but the chances are slim. I could see the Vikings getting some really horrific officiating in this one. You have to remember that this is also a rematch of the
a couple of years ago, right?
With the big touchdown catch or whatever, and that's going to be the storyline. And Drew Brees getting his revenge, and he's such a good guy. And
Well, Brett Favre's last game, basically, right?
Oh my God, man! No, it wasn't. No, it was 2 years ago. The last play of the game.
Oh, that one.
The Saints guy dives for what's his name? Their best receiver, on the Vikings, and he misses them, and they win the game on the last play of the game. You remember that? Like it's hail touchdown or something they call that. I don't know what they called it. But it was one of the crazier finishes that you ever see. A lot of people thought that Saints team was good enough to win the Super Bowl, and then a lot of people last year thought the Saints were good enough to win the Super Bowl. But,
Listen, they were more than capable of winning the Super Bowl. So
yeah, so a lot of people thought that the last 2 years, I think Sean Payton, because of Bountygate, had the refs on his side. Yes, Diggs is the receiver.
Yeah, it's the fun Diggs. I was going to say
the Minneapolis Miracle is what they call the play.
Oh yeah.
I think that maybe the goodwill towards Drew Brees is kind of overshadowing that, and they don't give Peyton a lot of credit. It's kind of like they mention him in passing.
He could care less, Sean Payton, about credit.
I don't like him too much, but
I'm a fan.
Yeah, I'm a non-fan.
Okay. Yeah, but I think the Saints will cover here. I think Kamara's going to have a big day. I do.
I don't know. I haven't seen the production.
And they got Latavius Murray, too, so they got a good 1-2.
I haven't seen the production from Kamara. What I see is some really...
I think he's been hurt.
I see some poor officiating in this one. I see some calls going the Saints' way, and I see a one-sided game because of it. And it's like, it's what's bad about the NFL. And we're going to see it all on display in this game. And, it won't matter. Even if the Saints are clearly the better team, we're still going to see the bad officiating on top of it. And those even make it worse. Those are even the worst of the worst games. But now we're going to get to really probably the best game of the weekend, and that's the Seahawks and the Eagles in Philly. As these teams that squeak into the playoffs generally show up, when they get to the playoffs. And that's Philly. 2 years removed from being Super Bowl champions. Meanwhile, the Seahawks, they ended the season really kind of fizzling out. They had a shot there against the Niners to complete the comeback. Couldn't get it done. Won the second half. And, they could take something in that. But
I mean, they win. Come on, they win the game. They have a mental error with the delay of game. I mean, Lynch was ready to punch it right in, and it happens. But now they got to travel across the country and go to Philadelphia. So, that you got to take your own medicine. So this is Carson Wentz's real first playoff game that he's healthy. A game that it's in Philly. The Eagles coming in at 9-7. They're hurt. Seahawks are hurt. Seahawks running game is really non-existent. But DK Metcalf, this guy's a beast. As a rookie, this guy is going to be a good receiver. The guy's physically imposing. I don't bet against Russell Wilson. I took the Seahawks against the Niners last week. But come playoff time, come on, Carson Wentz, Russell Wilson at the end of the day, I got to go with Russell Wilson, especially the fact that it's a 1.5 point spread, Seattle. I love the Seahawks. Love them.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tough game. I think
it's going to be a tough game. This is another under game. I don't see this high scoring whatsoever, but I got to go with Seattle.
But Philly's got some problems too with Zach Ertz.
Yeah, they're hurt, big time.
Banged up.
Yeah.
So not at full strength. I think they've got some problems here. So, I like the Seahawks. I've liked them a lot this season, but I don't like teams that fade down the stretch either. And the way that they did was kind of really,
disappointing.
It was
no doubt.
Really disappointing, but I give them the edge here, but I don't love them as much as I feel I should love them. It's maybe the lean on this one, but I think the under is probably the play for me.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
So, finished off the NFL. We got really just a week before the national championship game now. And we'll be able to talk about that next week. Got Charles Ormsby with us Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week in this 4 o'clock slot. We'll decide what we do with him after that. And he'll bring his computer and his software and his data.
I'd love to hear that. I'm going to be
pour through his data and question him. We could have Steve on with him. And
I would love to be part of that. I find that fascinating. What's his background, though? So
he's a computer scientist. He's,
how did you meet him? Did you know him?
Everybody. I meet everybody.
Okay.
Everybody knows me for some reason. They reach out to me.
You're the Bull and Finch pub. Everyone knows your name.
Pretty much.
Right.
Either love me or hate me. They know me.
that I can attest to. There is no gray area.
There's no gray in between. I kind of like them.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, that's going to be our show. Let's see if we any comments here. We need to go through. Good afternoon, Happy New Year, all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, I would have been worried with the Eagles a long time before that. We went over this Clemson money line. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, by all means subscribe, hit the like, hit the thumbs up. You don't need to sign up for notifications if you don't want to, but you can.
That's the question. Do I have a YouTube? I do a sports podcast, Tony, with my brother Jim. It's called Sports with Mono and Mono. We're on once a week. You can find us on YouTube. We typically do it on a Monday, and you can find us. So it's Sports with Mono and Mono.
I'm on a streak, not being on the show.
No, that's about to end.
It's a streak.
What do you think about the notable passings in the last couple days, Mitchell?
It's been a ton.
Right?
I like David Stern. It's like he definitely changed the game, and he made the NBA global game. And I like visionaries. So
he should get his accolades. He really came on the scene in '84, and really, what can you say? He really, like you said, he took it global, and he's well respected, and sorry to hear about his passing. He was a lot younger than I thought, too. 77. I thought David Stone was probably in his
he's
80s.
One of those guys. He always looked old, kind of like Sparky Anderson, right? He just always looked old.
Well, nobody looked older than Sparky Anderson. Come on, even when he was 33, he looked like he was 62. But then, as a New York Yankee fan, Don Larson passing away at age 90, obviously famous for the only perfect game in World Series history. And if you look at Don Larson's stats, the guy was 81 and 91 career. And, what he's also famous for is he probably drank more booze than Mickey Mantle and Billy Martin combined, believe it or not. But, hey, that's a feat that still has been unmatched. And God knows, I mean, somebody pitching a perfect game in a World Series game, that's tough to match, man, right? So he lived to 90 years old. And
well, it's tough. It's even tougher that they have these guys on a pitch count and they have them on, everything else. They pitch only, I mean, I hate the 5-man rotation. I hate it.
Yeah, I hate it too. I miss the old days of baseball when baseball
I don't understand why, like, when they had the 4-man rotation, no one ever had season-ending surgery, and now it's like, 5-man rotation. It's like these guys are always injured. They're always injured.
No.
I mean, if Jarrett Cole can get injured, if he needs, what do they call, like, to be rested or shut down or whatever, imagine what his dollar per pitch amount is going to go up.
Oh, my God.
We're at, $6,000 per pitch at this point.
Yeah. And then the third notable passing was Sam Wyche, former Bengals coach, who was really a good guy and, took the Bengals, to the Super Bowl against the Niners. That's the Joe Montana, hey, there's John Candy in the, front row game. And, Montana hits John Taylor to win that game and take it from the Bengals. But Sam Wyche was a good football player. He was a Cincinnati Bengal guy and passed away at 74. So
the Bengals had the choice. They had both guys on their staff. They had Bill Walsh and Sam Wyche.
That's right.
And they kept Sam Wyche and made him the head coach. And Bill Walsh went to the 49ers.
That's right. Yeah.
Might want to have that one back. But Sam's still a really good coach, and of course famous for the quote when the Bengals fans were throwing things onto the field. He's like, stop throwing stuff. He took the microphone away from the referee and said, stop throwing stuff on the field. You live in Cincinnati. You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was, we know Sam Wyche. We're old enough to remember Sam Wyche back when he played, and obviously he's the Bengals head coach. So.
Yeah, it seems like they went in bunches, this past week.
Yeah. Oh, this is a definite 3. They die in 3s. This is right according to plan. No doubt.
Yeah, we will. Like I said, we'll be back on next week, 4:00 shows across the board with Charles Ormsby. So I'm sure Charles will be ready for the doghouse. I'm sure you guys will be armed and ready. We will be talking about that. But Steve, you'll be back on Sunday or tomorrow, or
you tell me when, my friend.
Tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m.
You got it, brother.
Opening wildcard round. Of course, I'll be on for half times of all the wildcard games as well. Anyways, this is Mitch, Steve. See you guys later. Have a great day. And start tailgating. Get those questions ready for Charles Ormsby and say, what the hell am I looking at here?